Don't know what to say, don't have what I need, 'cause you really have caught me. Yes, I called you, I gave you this vision, I gave you this dream. Listen to me. I'll be your mouth, I'll be your hands, I am the word, I am the plan. I commanded you to go. Everything for you.
Good evening. Welcome to The Vision. I am your host, Pastor Sandra Whitley, and we're here tonight with a wonderful and special show. And the purpose of our show is to be able to let the city and the world know that we have some dynamic women here in Chelsea. And we want to bring hope and empowerment to our young people. So without any further ado, we're going to introduce our special guests. They are the newly elected female city councilors and school committee members. So we have with us tonight, and we will start with Councilor Damali Vidot. Is that correct?
It's Vido.
Vido. Very good. And as a matter of fact, I think I'll let you all introduce yourselves. Okay? Counselor.
Councilor Judith Garcia.
Very good.
School Committee, Jeanette Velez.
School Committee Woman Rosemary Carlisle.
School Committee, Yesenia Alfaro.
Wonderful. So we will begin tonight by just having the opportunity to get to know each and every one that is here. And so we want to explore what our dreams were when we were young, and some of us are still young, but when we were young in our childhood. So tell us a little bit about yourselves. Most of you, all of you, were either raised here, born here, grew up here, went to school here, right here in Chelsea. So why don't we start, and we can start around our circle here, our table here, and go from there.
I can't remember any one dream that I had growing up. And I wanted to be a ballerina and a doctor, and those are two things that even to this day I'm like, yeah, maybe not. I think as I got older, I remember wanting to be, for some reason, a probation officer, because I wanted to help people get their lives together. But my thing has always been in social services, young people, elders, and just kind of working with people. One thing that I developed since young was actually working with people, understanding them, communicating with them. And so I always knew it was in that field, but I don't think I ever had any one dream except, wanting social justice, just that was just me,
Very good, thank you. But tell us, so did you graduate from college here, high school? Did you go to school here? Were you born here in Chelsea? Where were you born?
I was born in the Bronx, New York. I was raised here I'm a New Yorican. I was raised,
yay.
thank you.
Okay.
I was raised here in Chelsea. My story is interesting. I was raised here in Chelsea, and I went through a rough patch in my teenage years where I started experimenting with things I shouldn't have been experimenting with and not wanting to go to school, and I got lost. I got really lost for a while. But we had, at that time we had youth development centers and whatnot, and I made some great relationships with some people who kind of guided me out of that. I did quit high school. I ended up getting my GED. I took some classes at a community college. I don't have a formal education. I'm self-taught. I read a lot.
Oh, now that's interesting. So your parents, where are your parents?
My parents, well, my mom she lives here in Chelsea. She works for the Housing Authority. She's been working there for like 20 years. My biological father was not in the picture. We came here when I was young. I didn't expect us to get so deep. Don't worry, it's no problem. So we moved here when I was like 1.5. My mother
From
was
New York.
Yeah, my biological father was not a good man, and we were trying to get away from that. My mother came here, met my father who raised me, had another daughter, my sister, and then so my mother's still alive. My father who raised me passed away 3 years ago to a neurological disorder, and that's my family.
So we're sorry to hear about that, but very
Thank you.
good. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for sharing. So
course.
that sets the tone right there.
Oh,
All right.
you
so,
asked.
Yes, yes. So tell us about yourself, counselor.
Well, first and foremost, thank you so much for having us and inviting us to your show. My story is a little different, actually, a little similar, but different in a different context. I actually grew up here. I was born in Cambridge, Massachusetts, but I was raised in Chelsea. I've lived here all my life. I was raised by a single mother who, she made a living by working at a factory. She still works at the same factory here in Chelsea. She works at KM Foods, so she actually makes hot dogs every day for about over 26 years. She is an absolutely admirable woman. She is hardworking, and that's the household I grew up in. I grew up with a single, strong-minded woman that was not educated, but did teach me about work ethic. I went to Chelsea Public Schools, and I did have dreams. Every morning, I walked to Chelsea High School, and I took that walk to school. I always promised myself that I would make it to college, that I would be the first person in my family to make it to college. My second dream was to travel the world, to gain perspective and become a more tolerant individual, and then eventually come back to our city to do something amazing. I didn't know what that was going to be, but I knew it would be something amazing. Eventually, those walks to school made me realize that I had a passion for urban planning. So for people that do not know, urban planning are actually professionals that decide how cities are designed and how we can make them better and how can we use land use to make cities more prosperous, either economically, sociologically. So that was my dream. And I had everything planned when I was in high school. I promised myself I would graduate with high honors and I would make it to a top liberal arts college, which I did. And eventually things changed. So things did not go as planned. I graduated as an urban planner, so I do have a bachelor's degree as an urban planner. I traveled the world, over 14 countries, while my years in college. And then I came back to Chelsea, and now I decided to serve. And this was the way my dream came true.
Very good. Well, it's not the end of the dream. So how many sisters and brothers and how many and what number are you, birth order?
That's a very fun one because I'm very lucky and fortunate to be the only child.
Oh my.
So a bit spoiled.
One of those that, that's what I was going to say, the spoiled brat or the spoiled one.
No,
Okay.
but I
Your
love
parents-
it. I love it. I
I
love
bet
it.
you do.
There's
That's interesting. I love it. I love being spoiled. Yes.
it's not
But
all
you're not
about-
spoiled rotten, it seems.
Exactly.
Okay.
My mother was she never really said, I'm proud of you. She never said that to me. And it's not because she wasn't, but was because she always wanted me to keep me grounded and to be humble. And to realize that you may have dreams, but you're not supposed to publicly say them or say, I'm going to get there. You can say, I wish, and with the help of God. And always being humble and working hard, that's what can get you there. And that was very helpful. And I thank her so much for doing that, even up to this day. Sometimes I'll run home and tell her, Mom, I got this amazing scholarship. And she has no idea. She'll say, mija, that's great. And then you want some food, you want some coffee?
That's right.
So she keeps me very humble. And I think that's very important.
Very good. Okay.
So my name is Jeanette Velez.
Yes.
I've been happily married for 20 years. I have 2 teen boys. One will be 15 this month and a 16-year-old. I was. My mother and dad lived here. So when I was born, I did come to Chelsea because when I saw my birth certificate, it said 104 Chestnut. I'm like, oh, what? I couldn't believe it because when I was a year old, my mom left my dad and we moved to Roxbury. So that was my home for 22 years. I grew up in Mission Hill. Looking back, growing up there and seeing the city of Chelsea, there's a lot of similarities and there are some differences. When I got married, my husband says, no, we're moving to Chelsea. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm going back to my roots. That's what I said. And I was in culture shock when I came here, just coming from Roxbury into Chelsea. I grew up around African Americans, Puerto Ricans, and Dominicans. That's pretty much it, my area. When I came here, and I saw the diversity amongst the Latino people, I was in shock. And I must say that I was like, oh, what is this? Their customs and certain things they did,
Yes, yes.
I did not agree with it. And I'm like, no, how can this be? No, we don't do it this way. So it took me some adjusting. I had my kids here, so I decided. So I have an associate's degree in business, but I also have an associate's in early childhood because I did study that. Early childhood before doing business, but at a young age, I just wanted to make money. And in that field, any human service field, you know, you're in it for the emotional paycheck.
That's right.
So I left that, and I went into business, and I was doing great things, making good money. I'm young. Also, my mom, single mother, raised 2 of us. So of course, when I saw that money coming in, that was my goal, just making the money. But after having my boys, I realized that I couldn't keep in that business world. It wasn't going to give me the time to spend with them. So I went back to school, back to my early childhood. I took more classes. I was fortunate to get a job at Capic, and that's when I really got to know who the people of Chelsea were through my work
Yes.
at Capic.
Yes.
I started volunteering, became an assistant teacher, then I became a family advocate. As an advocate, I was going out, doing home visits, and just seeing the need in the city and hearing the stories, and that my whole perspective, everything just changed. And I'm here 20 years later, and I'm still at Capic now for 11 years, and I wouldn't trade what I do, but that wasn't my dream. My dream was to be a dancer. I love to dance.
We know.
Oh, good. I do too. So we're still gonna make that come to
You
pass.
know, I used to, you know, I did some modern dance through my high school. You know, I wanted to join dance companies, but my mom didn't drive, and she was like, nope, you can't stay out late. You gotta come home right after school. You know, so I would get sad because I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna be able to dance. So I'm not this professional dancer I wanted to be, but I do fulfill my dancer's dream. I do teach dance right here in Chelsea.
Oh, so that's when you were talking about the Zumba.
I
So
do
where
also
do you
Zumba.
offer the Zumba classes?
Okay.
Where's-
So
okay.
at Off-Broadway Dance Studio, I teach Latin dance
Every day or?
on Tuesday. So I have 2 groups, the girls, younger kids. I do the Latin dance with them.
Okay.
I started doing Zumba there first, but I'm like, wait a minute, you're in Chelsea and you're not offering any Latin dance in here? Come on, you need to offer something. And I must.
So you're very observant.
Yes. So I said, we need some spice in this studio.
So you sprinkle some adobo on it.
Yes. So this is actually my 3rd year. So I started with 1 class after the recital. The following year we had 2 classes. So I do 2 classes of the girls, and then I do Zumba twice a week there, Tuesday nights and Saturday mornings.
What are the ages of the girls?
I have 6-year-olds up to 25 and 30 because I love to dance and I just pick up on stuff.
Okay.
I teach a Bollywood class.
Bollywood?
Bollywood.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm
so
not
we're
familiar
doing
with the
no.
Bollywood.
It's more
thought I
like
knew
Bhangra from India. Have you ever
Oh.
seen their movies? They love
Okay.
it's high energy
Oh, so that's
dance
what it's called?
and a lot of
Okay.
moving hand movement. You know,
Okay.
and I've been
Yeah.
you know
Got to move.
yes. So so I just started that new this year also. And just in the community. I used to do Zumba at the senior center, but when I got elected, I no longer could do that because it was city job and I'm holding a city official, so I was not able. I almost gave up the city official because I love
you
my
like the
seniors.
dance.
Yes,
Seniors, yeah.
and they were my best Zumba class ever, full of energy. And then when I walked in there, they were really happy to see me. So, you know, that's how I'm living that dream. And I'm very fortunate that my son is a great, great, great dancer.
Sure is.
So I could share that with him, but that's not his dream. But he's way better than mom. But
Okay.
at least we could share in that. And that's pretty
And
much
you said
it.
you had 3 sons. You have 3
No,
sons.
2.
2 sons.
Well, if you want to count my
Okay.
husband as one, because, you know, you take care of that.
Okay.
that,
All
yeah.
right. All right.
This is being recorded.
So let me ask you this. So what number child did you say, and how many siblings did you have?
I have 2 older siblings by father's side, but they grew up with us. And then my mom had another one. So I'm the baby.
Oh, you are the
I
baby.
am the baby of
Okay,
the four.
so is this baby a spoiled baby too? Because usually the last kids, the only kid in the last one is usually the spoiled ones, right?
Well, not. You know, if I call my sisters and I need something, they're there for me. But I wouldn't say I was spoiled, but not with material things and blah, 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 blah. I used to wake up, by the time I got up in the mornings and took my shower before going to school, you know, my coffee was in my dresser waiting for me so I could have coffee, you know, while I got dressed.
Okay.
When I got home, you know, that kind of stuff my mom spoiled me with. And I knew she wanted to do more, but she couldn't. And I think from that I learned at age 13, I was working already. And I've never stopped working since that age.
Okay.
So I could get the stuff I wanted and to help her out also. And
Okay, so we're going to come back to you. We'll give you more chance, another chance. So now we have school committee Rosemarie. She's been on the show before.
Yes,
and
I
we
have.
had a wonderful time.
Yes, we
So-
did. Yes, we got a lot of
Yeah.
compliments on that show.
Yes,
Reverend,
yes, yes.
It was very emotional for everybody on the show.
Yes, yes.
Well, I'll tell you my story again.
Yeah.
Born and brought up in the city of Chelsea all my life. I'm back in the house that I grew up in, by the way. I had 3 brothers, 2 passed, and I still have my baby brother Rick. He lives here in Chelsea. My mom and dad were Rose and Ralph Randazzo. My grandparents were from Italy. And my mom was from East Boston and dad was from Chelsea, and they happened to meet and they ended up in Chelsea. I grew up as the only girl in the family, and no, I wasn't spoiled. My brother would tell you I was, but just because they called me the queen doesn't mean I was spoiled.
We're spoiled. What do y'all say? I think there's some
I was
possibilities
the only girl, so, you know, the only girl got her own room, and that's when they said, she's the queen, she got her own room.
Okay, so I think you were spoiled myself.
Yeah, a little bit. But my mom and dad brought me up to teach me a lot of things in the city of Chelsea and growing up in the city of Chelsea. Growing up, when I did, we had the Polish, the Irish, the Italians, and a lot of my friends were Jewish. So we were brought up in a diverse city too. So my concerns was I went to a parochial school, so I come out of parochial school, went to public education, went to Carter School, and then I went to the high school, and I says, wow, I'm going to be out there, you know, with other people now, you know. You were brought up to say, yeah, you're Italian, Catholic, or whatever. But when you get out into the real world, you find out that there's so many beautiful people out there.
That's right.
I had a lot of Jewish girlfriends, Irish girlfriends. But most of my girlfriends would come to my house because I was Italian, and my mother made the macaroni and the meatballs for them, so they had to come over to my house to eat. So we had a lot of interesting things growing up in the city of Chelsea. Yes, I had a lot of mentors in my life. Mom and dad was my
Let's not go
biggest
there
ones.
yet. Let's not go there yet.
You know,
Okay, we gotta
but
go back.
we always had someone to go home to, and they mentored me that way, my mom and dad. So growing up the way I did I have a dream? I had a dream that someday I was going to be the perfect mom and have children and cook and do all the things I wanted to, and my dreams did come true. I was married.
That's right.
I have 3 beautiful children and 6 beautiful grandchildren.
Oh.
Yes.
What's
My
the
daughter,
oldest and the youngest?
the oldest is going to be 20, and then we have 17, 14, 9, 3, and then the baby is going to be 4 months.
Oh,
And
congratulations.
thank you. That was my daughter. She had her little girl, the princess we call her now, because she had a little boy first. He's 3 years old, and then she had a little girl. So
Beautiful.
they all were brought up in the city of Chelsea, went to Chelsea
my
Public
God.
School, and were educated. And the reason I got involved is because there was a lot of things going on in the school systems I wasn't happy with. The school buildings were old and things like that, so I started getting involved in the school committee back when my children were in school. And I got involved in PTOs. I was there at every meeting. They used to say, Rosemary, I don't need to see you. The kids are doing good. I want to see the parents, the parents that the children need help and I need to talk to. But we had a beautiful school system, except for things weren't being changed. With the years to come and the computers and the classroom
But you've seen a
sizes
lot
and all
of
those things.
Positive changes.
Yeah, there was
Yes,
a lot of
since
things that had to be changed, and I'm glad I was part of being the ones that helped change it.
Good, very good. Thank
Yeah.
you, Rosemary.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Okay, Yesenia.
All right.
Yes, counselor. No, school committee. Okay, yes.
Well, what can I tell you about me? I immigrated here in 1987. I crossed the
good.
border like many other immigrants that come. I come originally from El Salvador.
Okay.
And I remember I did not like the country at the beginning because I was 13. I was at that age where you have already friends back home. And my mom came before us, like running away from, violence from our country. And she did promise that she was going to go back and get my other 4 siblings I'm the second oldest of 6 now.
Okay, 6. Okay.
Yes, and I admire my mom a lot because she worked really hard for 2 years. People that know her, they know how hard she was working to make her dream of bringing her 4 kids to this country. And then after like a year, I started to like the country. I was like seeing more freedom. I was seeing that there was more possibilities of achieving dreams. And my gap was after I finished the high school. I went to Charleston High. I grew up in Eastie. Well, call it Eastie, East Boston.
East Boston.
Hey, thank you for breaking that.
Eastie. That's what we used to call it.
Yeah, we used to call it Eastie.
Yep.
I grew up in East Boston, and I went to the Barnes School, which is now an adult daycare where my father happened to go when he was alive. And the most surprising, I would say, stage it was for me when my mother did not disclose to us that we did not have the U.S. resident that we only had at that time was the NACARA, which is the U.S. Permit just to be here as with the refugee status, because our country was in a devastating civil war. And the most I remember that I got this scholarship, and the most devastating moment for me was when they told my mom that she has to pay in order for me to continue higher education at the Simon College at that time. I wanted to be a pediatrician, and I love kids. I have 4 myself, so you can see I love kids.
Yeah.
And my mom, she taught me that no matter what, your dreams can always be fulfilled. So I started to work, and with her help and God's help, I was able to graduate from the Banquero Community College. At that time, Banquero was up at the Soldiers Home, and they had this great program that it was a computer certified business administration. So I went over, and then from there they got me into a nonprofit organization that used to call the Chelsea Commission on Hispanics Affairs, right on Winnie Simmons Street. And that was at the time that we're fighting for the bilingual education that Boston University was taking. The school's over. There was a lot of things going on. And I was 21, and at that time I had 2 kids already, and I was seeing all of the things that we can do as community. And that's when my passion for organizing in the community started to grow, like to help others understand their rights as parents, as tenants, as students. And I remember that we used to pack school buses and go to Madison High, fight against, when they wanted to take out the bilingual education. And unfortunately, this nonprofit organization, as we are well aware of, they run with private funding. So my position was eliminated, and I started to, in another field, which I also like, which is the property and casualty. I was doing a lot of homeowners insurance, auto insurance, business insurance, and it was a different field, and fell in love with it. But then it was like that emptiness in myself, that when people used to come and ask me for help on other areas that I knew what to do with the situation, I couldn't help because I was not allowed to by the business owner. So I started to search for other job possibilities, and I ended up finding another great organization locally here. I found these great females at the Chelsea Restoration, and I started to work with them doing the first-time home buyers educational programs, the down payments, and then from there I started to notice and realize that I had this great opportunity as a female, as an immigrant female that can go back to school, learn the language a little bit better, because I'm not that. I feel that even though I've been in this country for that long, most of my relationships has been just with my Spanish community, so I always been speaking Spanish. So then I realized that I needed to become more fluent, and I started to, I gotta go back to college, and I got registered into Bankers Community College. I'm still there. I'm doing it as a personal goal. I wanted to be psychology, so I only have 2 more classes, and then I get my associate's square down the road. And
Beautiful.
thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. Then years after, I found this great other organization, which is empowering the community, the Chelsea Collaborative. And from there, I started to learn more, and I got enrolled in different board of directors with Job with Justice, with the Greater Boston Legal Services, and Mirror Coalitions. And I started to learn more about, because they started to train me on different aspects and open my lens into a different view. And one of the challenges that I began to have is, as a mom and as a female, I would say that in the female world is tough, because a lot of the workers, right, that I do sometimes, they see the woman, they still see us as a sex object, and we want to be seen as individuals that we can, we are capable of doing things. We are not just like that image of doing the housework, being the mom and being the wife. So I started to have, those challenges with my kids at school and at work. I had a lot of support, but mostly with the schools. It was with my oldest son that at the age of 16, he was not waking up early to school. And when he used to go to the classroom, he was getting bored, and I felt that he was not being challenged enough. He came out of Excel Academy when we were in East Boston, when we bought a house here in Chelsea in 2001. And I started to go there every day, and used to, like my mom used to do to us, sit on the classroom. He hated it, that. I used to sit in the classroom, and he's like, "Mom, go home." And I'm like, "No, I have to stay here because you need somebody to babysit you." And that way, he started to behave. But unfortunately, at the age of 16, he was told that he could drop out of school without my signature, without the parent consent. And I remember I went there, and I had a whole argument. And to my surprise, it was that it is a law that the state of Massachusetts allows students at the age of 16 to drop out of school, even though there has been a lot of bills legislatively to taking that off. It haven't been possible. So I started to work really hard on trying to get other alternatives to, thank God, he got him involved into youth bill. He got his GED, and now he's working, and I'm just encouraging him to go to college. With my second oldest, is the challenge was that I had to always be on top of the IEP, the educational individual plan, that was never kept up to date, and she was on the 10th grade with a curriculum of an 8th grader. So her challenge was that her test was never she was never passing them. She got a lot of support, but still it was one of them. And it encouraged me to say, I got to do something about it. And one day we were having this conversation with other parents and listening to them, the same issue that is over and over. Like my issue had happened with my family, my kids, several years on the road. And I'm like, this still happening? And I'm like, no, we got to do something. And I decided to run. And my idea is to help her women that have been working already on the system, that have been able to make these changes to bring the system up to speed on the science and on the technology, but also see and find other ways and resources that we can have the teachers that we need, to find ways that we can help our students and also our professors to have bilingual staff and
So
many
it
dreams.
sounds like a lot of why you're on the school committee is through some personal things that you're observing, and so those are good. And it sounds like, let me see if I can remember what everybody has said, that we have, but I did want to ask you, from El Salvador, you found your way, your mother and your parents found your way to Chelsea, or was it another state or city? I mean, from El Salvador, how did you end up in Chelsea?
Okay. So from El Salvador, my mom had a brother that was already residing in
Chelsea.
East Boston,
East
in
Boston.
the state of Massachusetts.
Okay, so all the way, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, very good. So it's a lot of diversity here. You all are going to make some significant impact. This is very, very, very good. That's why I just believe that, on the surface, it's always good because everyone has a story, and to be able to talk and to interact with one another and then bring us together, and to see, and then be able to create, you already had your individual vision, but yet just amongst you, what you can take and strengthen even the vision to be amazing achievement here in Chelsea. So I would like to then ask about your mentors. Were there mentors? How did those mentors affect? And so some of you said, yep, I've achieved my dream. Some have said, nope, my real dream is on the side, on the nightstand, on the somewhere, but it's still yet to be realized. So with that, can anyone just answer, what were some of the challenges, before we go to the mentors, what were some of the challenges that you faced in getting to the dream that you really want, or the dream that became the dream, not necessarily directly, if you follow me? Okay.
For me, the biggest challenge that I had was having been lost as a teenager and having that kind of set me back. And then when I tried to, re-enter the world in a positive way, being able to, I remember like my first professional job, and just the vocabulary wasn't there, and I wasn't sure how to really carry myself. I always felt like I was too hood, I was too urban, and people would pick up on that. So I always felt like I wanted to, like I couldn't show that. Like I always felt like I had to pretend to be someone else. And it didn't happen till after that. I was like, you know what? No, I'm proud of who I am. This is who I am. And building that confidence that comes when, just as becoming a woman, that I was like, no, this is who I am. Like I'm not gonna sit here and pretend to be anything else. But for me, was having been attracted to the street culture, having gone through that, being, a product of my environment, and owning that, and I own it now. I'm good. I'm okay. I love it. It's made me who I am.
Good.
But that transitional period for me was hard. And then having people look at me differently, because I was hanging out on corners. I was hanging out at the park. I was just, and listen, we all go through it. Just we might do it behind closed doors, or we might,
Yes.
we all go
Yes.
through our stuff,
Yes.
and
that transparency I do love.
Thank you. But so just that transition of just owning it, understanding it, growing, and moving on from
And
it.
actually, Damali, I love that you bring that up, because this concept of owning and being proud of where you come from
Yes.
is huge.
Yes.
For me, it's been a little different, right? I went to Chelsea High School, and I was an honors student, and I was an advanced placement student, and people knew me as one out of 25 success stories, and the teachers knew who were going to make it, who were those students that were the elite students because they were smart and they were successful. And unfortunately, it's unfortunate that only a few numbers of us could make it that far. I think it should. I think it should go beyond that. I think that 400 students should be successful,
Yes.
not
Yes.
only 25.
Yes.
And with that privilege came making it to a big school and making it to a school that is majority white and majority privileged. And I remember that when I was actually the first. Cheryl Watson, actually, our city solicitor,
That's
is
right.
also she went to Wheaton College.
Good,
That's where I went to school, and going
you
to
went to Wheaton?
I went to Wheaton.
Oh, okay. We can go there. Okay.
Yes, I went to Wheaton, which is also a consortium with Brown University.
That's right.
And going to schools that are so high up there, when they ask you, where are you from? And you say, Chelsea. I remember someone tell me, years ago, the joke used to be when you wanted to scare your children, you would tell your children, you better behave or I'll send you to Chelsea.
Oh my gosh, I hadn't heard
So
that one.
just,
Wow.
so coming from that, it was very, it was wow,
Yeah.
because I am.
And that was in the 80s, 70s, 90s? What is it?
It
2000s?
should have been a long time ago, but it hurts when people make those comments
That's right.
because, or even when they come up with publications that Chelsea is one of the most ghetto cities. I don't see that because
Yes.
I love this city and I love what we have to offer, and I do not want our students, and not only our students but our girls,
Yes.
to feel that way, to feel ashamed of where they come from,
Absolutely.
and just owning that and being proud of that. So for me, I guess my biggest challenge, beyond not owning, because I own and I'm proud of where I come from, but my biggest challenge is letting go. I think that when I was in high school, I planned everything so strategically and so
Yes,
well, and
that's what
I was going to make it to college, and then I made it to college, and I had this plan. I am going to be one of the best urban planners, and then I realized my senior year, I had become the first. I actually lived in the Middle East. I was hired. I actually became the first American female to work for the government there in Oman, in a major urban planning project, and I hated what I was doing. And when I came back, I was a senior. It was spring semester, and I remember I went to my professor's office, my advisor, and I just sat there and I cried, and I said, this is not what I want to do. And he basically said, tough luck. You have a few weeks left. You're graduating. It's been 4 years, and I felt defeated. My dream, this whole plan and strategic plan of becoming someone, I soon realized it was something I hated, that I didn't want to do. And the minute I graduated and I crossed that stage, it was great. I graduated, and here's my bachelor's degree, and I'm the first in my family to graduate.
That's right.
Huge
Thank
achievement.
you. Okay.
But then I walk out and I'm like, wow, what am I going to do? And that's when I made that bold decision of moving to South Africa, which is a fun fact. I moved to South Africa, and there it was that I learned that sometimes you have to let go, and things may not always work the way you plan them, but the universe or God or whoever you believe in always conspires to make things work for you.
Oh,
so
that's right.
things changed.
Absolutely.
I'm in healthcare now, and I'm happy with what I do.
But very good. And when you said that, though, I remember what stood out for me was once hearing our former president, George Bush, who was speaking at a convocation and graduation rather, and the main thing was, does it really matter about the degree as much as it matters you start what you finish?
Yes.
And then it opens some doors,
Yeah.
So that helped you to realize, because if you hadn't have pursued the urban development, then you wouldn't have known that you really, really didn't love it. But thank you, the professor says, tough luck, because you only had 2 weeks to graduate or something like that. Oh yes, that was good. Get her across that stage, please. I would have to have come and said, oh no, Judith, no, go girl, go, just forget about all that.
Run with it.
Yes,
Run with it.
run
So-
with it, yes. And you can change, and if you look at most bios, there's not the straight path. It may have started off that way, so a plan, but yes, like God, He's the one. He says, plan, but he's the one that will
Yes.
make those
Master
plans
plan.
succeed.
That's right.
So, but you got to plan so that you can know that, oh, you know, I've arrived or not, but he's going to make it work out. So that's good. That's good. Oh, we're gonna be a sorority here. Okay, we're gonna do some things. I love this. So, and we don't have to go in order, but yeah,
Well,
challenges.
You know, just coming from a single parent home, I was the first one also to go to college in my family, because my mom's goal was like just finish high school and you'll get married one day and you have kids and you go home and you cook and clean, and I'm like, oh no. That was never my mindset. You know, I always knew, I'm like, no, I want to do stuff, big stuff. I met my husband my junior year in high school, and he was very focused, career focused. Oh yeah, no, you should go to college. You should do this. But still, I'm like, oh, I don't know. But on my own, I went and I did my financial aid and I did all the paperwork, and you know, I went off to Salem State. Oh, I'm moving. I'm living in the dorms because I thought that was best for me. But no, I miss my mommy. So I stayed there 1 year and I came back home. Went locally. Like I said, I was in the early childhood. No, you know, and did the switches. But like you said, God had a different plan for me, because when I came to Chelsea, little did I know that I would be a Catholic, doing the work that I do, that I love, going through tough times financially. But I can never say that I've woken up like, oh, I don't want to go to work. I can't.
Wow.
I've never had that. Never.
That's great.
But
No,
you got-
seriously,
it is
to have that passion,
Yes.
and you're not. It's an emotional paycheck. You said,
Yes.
right? That's great.
That's good. Yes.
But that has, because of the work I've done there, that has also shaped my family, my children, because they see what I do, and they've picked up on that compassion. And you know, even if they see some friends at school that they're not getting something, they'll come and talk to me. You know, Mom, this is going on. You think, can we do something? You know, they have it in them.
Very good.
This has
That's
been-
what they need to have
right.
more of.
Yes.
right.
You know, so that has helped me to raise them,
Very
because
good.
they see me in the front lines. They see me come Thanksgiving, Christmas, whatever's going on. They see me out hustling, getting donations, and not relying on my agency alone to give me something. I can't, you know. Times are tough. Times
So
are
it
tough.
sounds like for your challenges, once you saw the challenge, but if you made up your mind, you just did whatever you needed to do to get past that.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I do it.
So what about you? Were there any challenges to achieving
Challenges.
your dreams? Or your
No,
goals?
challenges back then when I was growing up were, you know, to make sure that you had friends you can depend on and family you can depend on. And my challenges were, I had them. I had the challenges already set. My parents were there for me. My friends were there for me. My challenge was, you know, I stayed home with my children. I was one of the lucky moms back then that I could stay home with my children. Took them to school, took
Oh,
them
you
to
were so
dancing,
privileged.
took
You
them.
just could
Yeah, I was just a
spoil
lucky.
those kids, not have to work.
Yeah, I was so lucky back then. Of course, I have to work now. but I mean, that's a challenge in itself.
Yes.
But my challenge was to be a good mom to the kids, and I think I did that because I'm very proud of them, where they ended up and what they're doing with their families, and they're all bringing their children up the same way: respect, the family,
Yes.
and making sure. So the challenge, I met my challenge by my children doing what I was taught to do:
Right.
the family environment, taking care of your children, going to work, and making sure there was a roof over their head. So the challenges, I overcome my challenges by being there. And I enjoy it. And the reason I'm on the school committee is because I still enjoy children.
Yes.
And my children's got an
Investing in
education,
their
and I want to
lives.
make sure all the other children's do too.
Very good. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Right.
She's so passionate, y'all.
Yeah, I try.
She's so
Yeah.
But
You know the other side of me, honey. Thank you very much. We went through this before.
I know, and
Reverend.
it's
I
like,
don't know. You just do this to me all the time.
Yes, but that's what's in our heart.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
That
speaking
we
from the
have
heart.
hearts in here. Yes.
That's right, Reverend. That's where you speak from the heart, and and people always say to me, you've been on the school committee so many years. Why? Well, because I care.
That's right.
I care about education.
That's
I
right.
care about the children, no matter age, color, where they came from. I think being a school committee woman all the years, I've learned a lot
That's right.
from the children.
Yes.
I've been to many Chelsea High School graduations. I have met the children after they graduated. Some weren't happy. Some they were so thrilled that they went and got a college education because they were educated in the city of Chelsea. So, these are the goals that I want to make sure continue for the children. So, yes, we have challenges ahead, but I'll make sure those challenges come true for them.
Oh yes, because you got a good team.
Yeah,
Yes, that's right.
we sure
that's
do.
Right. Very good. All right, Yesenia, it's on you. Challenges. What kind of challenges did you have?
Well,
Give us one.
the first one was, not having the opportunity like many other students and children that are born here that were able to fulfill their higher education. So that's one of the things that passion me to continue to help other immigrant like myself and continue to do immigrant rights. And I would say I overcome that challenge every time I help to move somebody on the higher education, when I help somebody to become a U.S. citizen and then register them to vote, being able to, help and bring voices to our immigrant community. So I feel like that's when my role as a school committee will also come very key on to, work with the most vulnerable students that just arrived and be able to help them, to let them know, yes, you can have your dream fulfilled. If I made it, you can make it. And
So it sounds like our challenges are really challenges that help us to help somebody else. Because we learn through our challenges, and we don't want nobody else to have to go through those
That's
challenges.
right.
exactly.
Even though they may not always listen,
That's right.
but you can share with passion, and maybe someone will. So very good. So mentors, who are some of your mentors?
Ooh. Well, for me, it's very difficult to just name one. I think I've had several.
Okay.
I think I've had many. I need to credit all of them because I guess I've had men as much as I've had women
Thank you.
that are very important.
Yes.
And the women that I've met are just, they've taught me a little bit of everything from how to navigate situations that may be difficult, how to express myself, to how to learn that you're worth something. Because I guess as women we really forget our worth, that we really take, if you're getting that job, you take the first salary they offer you. You're not willing to compromise. We don't feel comfortable with doing that, or negotiate, or really realize what our worth
That's right.
is.
That's right.
And so I think that I've learned a lot about that, and definitely there's one book I really like, and it's Lean In. It's a great book that I definitely recommend for all of you to read, and it talks about how we
Okay, we'll have a
really
big club. We come
we
back
need a
up.
book. I love reading.
Now we're going to have a book club.
I have lots of books at home. I actually have an office at home filled with books, and I've always told
you
my
like
mother,
reading.
nobody touches these
That's right.
books because they mean a lot to me. But going back to Lean In, Sheryl Sandberg talks about how we really need to sit on the table and not only sit in it, it's talk about it, participate with new ideas. And that's what my mentors have taught me. They've taught me to feel more comfortable and definitely to just be authentic. So.
Yep, authentic, transparent, and not judged by the color or by the cover.
Yes.
Right? You know, and
Definitely.
so once we start
Definitely.
opening up and talking, and we say, wow, we've got a lot in common, you know, and it's not that perception, and we're not to judge, and we all have a common goal, you know, but it might not appear that. So tell me, any of your mentors or any of these people that are on TV, any of these movie stars, any of these?
No.
Not at this time. No.
Have you seen TV lately?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
you
But
watched
isn't that
TV?
some of what our kids are? Maybe not
Yes.
yours, but our
Yes.
kids are
Very
leaning
sad.
towards this. You know what I'm saying?
Very
This is
sad.
some hard, serious competition out here.
Yeah.
It is,
Yeah.
and they get influenced. So I really can't say here and say I had mentors. So my goal is to be a mentor because I really didn't have them. But when I heard, like my guidance counselor in high school, no, apply to this college because you don't have to write an essay. What are you trying to say? that I can't write an essay. No, just, actually, that's why I went to Salem State, because she says, do
see,
this one.
I'm running into that.
And I said, I wanted to go to Wheelock College. No, you can't. But you know what? I did go to Wheelock. I got in, so I went back to high school. You know, and I'm a product of Boston Public Schools.
Right.
So urban districts, they face those challenges.
Right,
you know,
right.
unfortunately, you're not going to find a lot of positive role models in the school systems. You know, so I went back. Then never did I imagine that I would sit here as a third term school committee, but somebody at my job who I admire, very smart woman, respect to her, and I said, oh, maybe one day I'll run for a school committee. Oh no, I don't think you'll get there because so and so didn't get the opportunity because somebody else
Didn't get it, yeah. So you
and
can't
they
listen.
had all these degrees and they were so smart and they didn't get it. I'm like, oh, okay, but I thank God that I'm not the type to, oh my God. No, that's adding fuel to my fire.
Okay.
Girl. Yes.
I
you
know
go.
it, girl.
So when the opportunity came, I said, oh, okay, I'm stepping up to this.
Okay. You
I
did.
came in, the first time was through interview because the person serving in my district moved out of district and they needed to fill the seat. Which interview was held by city councilors and school committee. There was two of us, nerve-wracking. But right then and there, they interviewed both of us and made the decision. So well, the next morning I got up. It was during the summer. I used to get laid off in the summer from work, but I got up early. My husband was like, where are you going? I said, I'll be back. I had to go tell that person, oh, I got to tell you something. I'm on the school committee.
All right. Congratulations. So stepping out there.
Oh, yeah. So I used, you know, so like I said, I never had that mentor, but I want to be for these young people that I come across.
Very good. Very good.
To let them know that, unfortunately, sometimes you're not going to have somebody there, but you got to have that mindset to change your destiny that you can do it.
So very good, because that's a good lead-in as we try to wrap it up. What would be your closing remarks that you would want to give to these young people, and especially our young girls? And so I'm glad that we are all on the same page. I didn't know I would be on the same page, but we are on the same page as to what we want to do is to get rid of the best that we can, and in your positions, the negative around Chelsea. It's not what they say it is. And you can do something about that. And as you are now stepping into your new roles as the newly elected counselors and school committee members, what is that one thing, that one word of wisdom that we will leave with our audience and our young people tonight? Because I think we got a part 2 coming up.
Oh, this is good.
Yes,
This
we
is
do.
good.
That's what it sounds like. So for now, what do we want to share? So we want to prepare to wrap it up.
Well, I would say, I think I'm
So
the
you-
youngest one here, but I think I would
And we
say,
want to look into the
I would say to the girls out there that are watching this to definitely get out of your comfort zone and try new things. Be adventurous, be ambitious, think big. It is so important to think big and get out of the box so you can gain perspective. Go out there, explore, believe in yourself, and always come back. Come back to your community, serve your community, but also remember that as women, we have to work together, support each other, cheer each other on, not work against each other, because together as women, we are the pipelines of change. And if we work together as sisters, supporting each other and not working against each other, we can do wonderful things.
Very good. So you're very approachable. See you. Okay. Who else?
Okay, I'm going to step up. I'm going to be the senior member of the group. And
Very
very
good.
proud of it.
Okay,
Let me
yes,
tell
we want
be,
your word.
because I don't act my age and they don't know my age. So I'm going to do my own thing.
That's right.
But
Good.
as an elder woman, I want to tell you, young girls, follow your dreams. Because you're the only one that can make that dream come true. It's been a hard road for a lot of women growing up the way I did. I grew up in the city of Chelsea. I stayed home. I worked. I went to work when I got older. But I want to let you know, follow your dreams because your dreams will come true. Mind it.
Yes, yes. Very good. Thank you, Rosemary. All right. Who else? Come on.
I'll go.
All right.
I didn't plan anything. So.
Uh-huh.
I guess what I want to say is just be yourself and don't let anybody tell you you can't do something.
Yes.
Regardless of where you come from,
Yes.
don't let society or the influences of music and movies and what everyone else is doing stifle you.
Yes.
Let it empower you. Be yourself. You can do whatever you want to do. I mean, there's so many. Society confines you and tells you you have to be a certain way. You don't have to. As long as you have integrity and you're doing the best you can and you're respectful to other people, I mean, that's all it takes. I'm raising a 9-year-old daughter, and I tell her all the time, dream all you want. I don't care if you want to be a guitarist. That's okay. Just be the best damn guitarist you want to be. You know, just do whatever you want, whether it's arts, whether it's you want to be a psychologist. I don't care. Follow your dream, do your best, be integrous, and just always push forward. Don't let anything stop you.
Very
go.
good. Okay.
I just want to say, like everybody else, follow your dreams, but respect yourself first of all, and have high self-esteem. You can't depend on other people to make you feel good. You got to do it yourself. You got to wake up every morning with that mindset. I feel good today. I look good today. I know many of you look yourself in the mirror, because I used to when I was young. Ooh, how cute am I? Ooh, ooh. You know what? It's okay. Tell yourself that, because you could feel good about yourself, and that's gonna show when you go out in this world. I didn't grow up in Chelsea. I grew up in Roxbury. No different. I grew up seeing violence. In the 80s, violence was very high. A lot of my high school friends passed away due to the violence. I was exposed to seeing drugs, so many things. And yes, that happens in Chelsea, but it doesn't mean that you can't become a great person, a successful person at that. I've come across through the school committee. I've been fortunate to meet a lot of the young girls, the teenage girls, and when I get the opportunity to talk to them, I feel great. When I see them graduating, like I was telling my peers earlier, that makes me feel good. I even get emotional, because any accomplishment any youth does makes me feel good, because you're my future. So please, don't give up on your dream. Work hard and put it in your mind that you could be successful. Wake up every morning. This is what I say, something good is gonna happen today, because I set the expectation for something great to happen.
Great. Thank you. All right, Yesenia, give us some words.
Okay, like my other colleagues here, just follow your dreams and overcome those challenges by remembering your dreams and never give up. If you feel that things are not going well at the moment, just remember that we have God, and pray. I am a really faithful person, and I always, when I have those rocks in my life, I always pray a lot and say, you know, God, you are doing this for a reason, and those challenges are only to make you stronger, and at the end you're gonna see a wonderful dream. But like many of you have said, you know, respect yourself. Don't you know, have your self-esteem really up there, because we are all beautiful. God created us all beautiful, and you can be anyone you want in your life, is you know, think positive to that dream.
Very good. I am so inspired, and I hope that our audience has been inspired by these wonderful stories, and these are stories of life and those who have overcome against the odds, and still yet is to be revealed. Where there is no vision, the people perish. So here we are, our dreams, my dreams, your dreams, the community dreams. This is The Vision. We'll see you next time.
Sitting on the edge of the bed, contemplating if I heard what he really said. I heard him say, go